Attention Rhode Island landlords. Do you have more than 4 units in Rhode Island? You should be paying attention to House Bill 5503 that's working its way through Rhode Island legislation this year, and this is being filmed in March of 2025. House Bill 5503 states that a landlord may not let a lease lapse if they have more than 4 units at the end of the contract unless they have just cause. Under the terms of this bill, you would not, as a landlord, be allowed to non-renew your expired lease unless the tenant was in violation of the lease terms by not paying their rent or you wanted to move into the property yourself. You would not be able to let the lease lapse if you wanted to get into the property and do some work. Think, for example, do you have a property that you need to do a bunch of double hung windows? You have to replace them under the new lead laws, but you can't do that while your tenant's in place without having to go and rent them another property. So maybe you're coming up on the end of the lease and you just want to let that lease lapse so you can get in and do the work that you need to do. It also says that you as a landlord cannot let the lease lapse just because you want to sell the building. This is impinging on your right to transfer real estate. This is essentially giving the tenant a right of interest in your property. Another aspect of this bill is you couldn't raise your rents more than 4% of its current rate or 1.5% of the CPI. Now, why might you want to raise your rents? Well, say you just purchased the property and you paid market rate for the property, but the landlord had owned this property forever. They had no overhead in the property and they've had the same tenant in there. Maybe it was a family member, or maybe it was just somebody that, they liked and they felt bad. They didn't need the income and they didn't raise the rent. With this restriction on your rent increase, you would not be able to bring that rent up to market rate and you wouldn't be able to get rid of the tenant. So what does that do? That chills the market. So pay attention to H5503. This one's going to be important. If you're a property owner with 4 or more units on Aquidneck Island or Newport County, DM me or give me a call at 401-856-9920. I'm Sandy Warner with Warner Realty Group and Property Management. Give us a thumbs up.